Hi everybody, Jessie here from jessiebanks.com and welcome back to another video. So today I have another plan with me in my bullet journal. This is actually only the second one. I filmed February and March. Never got around to editing them and putting them up, but today I am planning for April and I'm starting things off here with my Mexico palette. I'll link that up in the iCard, and a piece of Fabriano Artistico 140 pound cold press watercolor paper. So I am using a couple of colors from Rachel Beth Designs, and then the other color is, oh my goodness, Payne's Gray. I couldn't think for a moment there. The two colors from Rachel Beth are called, I'm just going to grab my thing here while I'm painting some eucalyptus. Oh look, my head's in the way. Typical Jessie video. Wouldn't be the same if you didn't see the top of my head. So the two colors from Rachel Beth are called Crashing Waves and Deep Ocean. And then again, the Payne's Gray, which in my palette is from Core, and that's simply because that's the only Prussian blue I have in a tube. I'm not Prussian blue, Payne's Gray. So I'm starting off with painting the little stem, and then I'm going in with the lightest color there and adding in the basis of all of my little eucalyptus leaves. And then I'll start adding some shadows and things with the two darker colors. So the the Deep Ocean and the Payne's Gray. I had a bunch of fun painting this one. I did add lots of watercolor paper into my sketchbook this time. I found that in the Luch term, I don't even know if I say that right, dot journal, it doesn't take paint well at all. I mean, the paper is not designed to take watercolor anyway, but I figured adding in little strips of paper would probably make it a little more fun for me to play with. So these are all just free-handed. I drew kind of a line for a stem, and I'm just painting in the leaves wherever I decide I want them. Some of them overlap, some of them don't, and then I'm just going to go in, as you can see, and start touching in some darker colors and letting them dry. I had lots of fun with a bunch of different leaves and things in this month's spreads in my journal. So this will be the front page, and then I have my big calendar, and then I have 1 week layout that I'm showing. I didn't film them all because I do every week from a month the exact same, and then I change them up from month to month, so I do them all the same. So I figured I'd just show you guys one. So once that's done, I let it dry, and then I'm going to add in just a small version of the calendar just with what day is on what week. There's no room to write anything else, and I'm putting that in here with a micron. So I do my months from Monday to Sunday, so simply because Saturdays and Sundays are my days off. I work in construction, so I work Monday to Friday. Normally, most of the time I work Monday to Friday. So it's kind of nice to have my weekends put together instead of splitting them into 2 separate weeks. If you guys can hear any yelling, it's my son. He's not going to like me shortly when I take video games away. So once that's done, I erase my little map that I had drawn on my watercolor, and then we are going to add the word April on top. I am writing that out again with a micron pen. That one is a 0.8, and all I did was write it out in pencil and then trace over it with my micron pen, and then I erase the pencil that shows through. It just helps me make sure that my lettering is where I want it. I'm by no means a hand lettering expert. They're messy, but I'll get better as the time goes on. And then I'm going to add one more little eucalyptus sprig down here at the bottom just to kind of fill in a little bit more of the white space. And this one, I'm just following the same pattern again. I didn't paint the stem in first. I decided to do that a little later on. But it's still the same process. We're doing the lighter color on the leaves and then adding the shading in after the fact. This was fun. I had a blast playing with my paints on watercolor paper for this. This might become a regular occurrence in my bullet journal. Simply because if you watch anything else on my channel or anything of that, I love watercolors. They're kind of my favorite thing. So it's really nice to be able to work them in. I'm going to have to find a journal that will take some watercolor maybe directly onto the page. I'm not sure if there's anything that will. If not, I'll just keep adding pieces of watercolor into the journal like I did here. And you can see how, because I didn't paint that stem in first this time, when I ran the stem down, it bled right into those leaves all on its own, which made me really happy because that's what I wanted. Then I taped that down onto the page, and that's the first page done. Now we're going to go through and I am going to outline all of my little boxes for my calendar. So I just do all of my horizontal lines and then I'll turn my book sideways here and do all of the verticals. I've sped this up a lot. So this is like six and a half times the original speed. So I map it out so that I don't have any empty boxes at the end. So this is the layout of the exact month. Again, I run my months Monday through Sunday. Then we'll go and put in all of our little numbers. Look at how quick I can do that. If only that was true. Once I'm done, I'm going to add my Monday, Tuesday, etc., in my micron. And then I take my Slicka Gold pen here and I'm just putting a line through all of them. I just think it adds a little bit of a detail and I really enjoy it. I've done it on other months, so I've just kind of kept that one up. Now I have a piece of watercolor paper here and I'm just going to paint some leaves. These are just kind of like a blue ferny leaf. I don't know. I painted some thick leaves and then I go through after and I add some really, really thin, just little like feathery type lines to it. I had a blast playing with it. I don't know what they are. I think they turned out super cute though, so I was kind of happy with how it all came about. So I am using Daniel Smith's Phthalo Blue Turquoise, which is one of their new colors, and then I'm mixing some indigo. I do believe it's indigo. Some indigo, or it's either indigo or Indian Throne blue into them just to give them a little bit of variation. So I'm adding in the stem, and then I'll put a little bit of detail into the leaves. I don't do a whole ton in terms of that. I did thicken up the bottom of the stem a little bit there, and then I just add in some more shadows. So I layer a little bit more color in there and play with them a little bit till I achieve the look that I'm after on them. So I'm just going through and adding some shadows at the bottom and letting those colors bleed up. On the leaves that were a little too dry to get them to flow the way I wanted, I'll go back with a clean brush and just kind of move them around so that I get a little bit of a smooth transition between them all. It's kind of finicky work, but I really enjoy doing it. So as long as it makes me happy, right? It's my bullet journal. I can do what I want. So adding a little bit more of that really dark blue there and letting that bleed in. And then we'll start on the little spriggy lines. So I took a smaller paintbrush and I'm just going back into those blues and I'm adding just some little like feathery type lines in there just to add a little more detail so that it wasn't quite as boring and I didn't have to paint as many big leaves. And then I go in and I drop a little bit of the darker color at the base before they dry so that they kind of blend together and create a smooth transition between the turquoisey color and the deeper blue. And then I just keep adding and adding and adding and adding, and it was fun. So I added a little pink later on. Well, it's like a pinky purple color. And then I go in with a black brush pen later and add a little bit more and some lines underneath of the leaves. But I'm really happy with the way this one came out. I've been really enjoying my bullet journal. It's been helping me keep things on track, so I'm not quite as last minute as I usually am. I tend to kind of procrastinate and do other things that I don't have to have done instead of doing the things that I've said I'd get done, and then I'm up till stupid late hours of the night trying to finish up things that I've agreed to do because I don't like to let anybody down, and I always accomplish what I say I'm going to get done. So now I'm adding some pink leaves in there, or some pink little feathery things, and then I've got a darker blue again, and I'm just going to add a little bit of a line to the center of our thicker leaves just to give them a little bit of kind of like a fold look to them. This was super fun. I had a blast doing this. So then I'm going to tape it into my planner here and go in with, this is where my black brush pen comes in, and I do a little bit on the bottom of each leaf. And then I'm going to add some of those spriggy little feathery looking lines in with that pen as well. And that finishes off that little piece of art for the bullet journal. All I have left on this page is to add the word April to the top of the page. P.S. When I sketched this out, this is why I do things in pencil. When I sketched this out in pencil before I did it with the pen, I spelt it Arpil, so A-R-P-I-L instead of A-P-R-I-L. Yeah, that was fun. Now I decided I wanted to add some more watercolor because, like I said, I'm obsessed. So I'm just going to take those two colors that I used in our first piece, so the Crashing Waves and the Deep Ocean, and I could have turned the palette around so you guys could have seen the colors I'm working with, but I didn't. And I'm just going to create like a watercolor splash on the background. Just layering those colors over top of each other and letting them dry and adding a little bit more to create a little more depth. A little more depth to the colors. I am using my heat gun to speed up the drying process, as well as give me a little more harsh edges where our colors overlap each other. I kind of enjoy that look, so it was fun. Once I'm done that, I'm going to cut all of these up, and I do 7 little pieces so I can do Monday through Sunday. And they are a couple inches, roughly 2.25 inches wide, and I cut them at 1/2 inch tall. So this was fun. I really enjoy making splashy watercolor backgrounds and not painting anything important on top of them. It's kind of my favorite part because it's really hard to screw up. And I muck things up on a regular basis. So this is where I'm cutting out those little strips. I'm so happy that I make cards before I jumped into this, because I have so many things that I can use in my bullet journal without having to buy a million things. So, because I've already bought a million things, let's be honest. So I'm going to tape all of those in here. I just quartered out my pages so that I had equal sections for each day, and then I have like an extra little square where I can paint something if I want, or put some notes if there's additional notes for this week. I did have to move the little boxes that you see sketched in so that they aren't basically touching those little strips of watercolor paper. I'm going to write my days, my Monday, Tuesday, like what day of the week it is. And then underneath in the little boxes I'm going to draw is where I will put the number day that corresponds with that day of the week for this week. I am only showing you guys this one spread. I'll set up the entire month like this, so it'll be the exact same thing over and over. I might change the color of the splashy watercolor pieces, but I do the same layout of the week for the entire thing. I may have said that already. I recorded this once and forgot to unmute the mic, so there was no sound because the mic was on mute. Brilliant. I know. So I hope everybody is staying safe and using all of your fun supplies. I know I have been using so many things that I haven't reached for in a very long time, which has been kind of fun to basically be forced to shop my stash because it's not something I do on a regular basis. The last page here is just my brain dump page, and all I do is put the title on that, and that is simply because I write a ton of stuff on my brain dump pages. So I'm going to give you guys a final look at the 4 layouts here. 4 little layouts that I did. I had a blast with this one. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you aren't subscribed, I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you very soon in another video. Bye for now.